Okay, I think we're recording. The lighting doesn't seem to be very good on this. Well, I'm trying to make a video about what I've just been through. I started using the epilator. I'm doing hair epilation now instead of shaving every single day. Trying to get into that. I started using the epilator back in 2015. The epilation thing is very much it's a decent thing. It's just that it will be extremely painful at first to do it. Basically, it's like being attacked by a little pin knife constantly. That's how it feels like. It's essentially what it is. And if you're willing to take that pain, if you're willing to go through that, supposedly your hair will. I've just done my research on it. I didn't know this back then. So back then I was a lot more naive about the epilation process. I did it. I did some of it, and I found it far too painful, and I decided to use numbing cream to numb the pain, take an aspirin, and try to see if I can do it that way. But I wasn't aware of how long epilation would last, as far as your hair growth. I figured, okay, I epilate. And then I have to do this again when it grows back in a couple of days. And I'm like, I don't really want to go through that. It became so much more of a hassle. From what I'm reading about the epilation process and bikini waxing and all of that, when you wax hair, it really does a lot of damage to the hair follicles to such an extent that it will take time. Perhaps nearly a month the hair to actually come back and start to grow again. So from that knowledge that I gained, I said, okay, I got to use epilation to remove the hair from my chin and around my neck area, all that. And also, what I was doing wrong was I didn't cut the hair low. When you do waxing and epilation, it actually would benefit you to cut the hair, shave it low, so that it's not that, it needs something to grip when you're going to tweeze it out, of course, and wax it out. So keep it at a length that's tweezable and waxable, but at the same time, you don't want to create a situation where you're tugging on your hairs at like 10, 12 hairs at a time. You don't want that. You want it to be plucking the hair lightly, nicely, like a weed whacker. So I finally decided to try to do it by trimming my hair down a little bit first and then going at it and it still hurts. I didn't change that, but now it wasn't this massive amount of, like you're getting chainsawed, you're getting your head cut off. You don't feel it like that. You feel it as like you're being pricked constantly. That's it. And if you can handle that, or you can take that. My chin is mad red right now because this area has a dense amount of hair. It's all very closely put together, and I didn't really have the means to shave the hair down low, so I kind of just did it as the hairs were as long as they were. And it took a long time to get around all of these and suck up all the hairs out of the sockets. And I did it, and I'm glad I did. It still looks nice, and it feels nice. And that should work for a good 3 weeks of no hair there. And down here I still got a lot to do because when I did the shaving, I shaved too damn low. And now I have to wait for these to grow out and again so that I can pluck them. But down here, when you do the hard areas of your face, I could say that about epilation. When you do the hard areas that suck and give you the most pain, the parts that don't give you the most pain, like here it's a thicker layer of skin, so you're not going to feel it as strongly as up here where you got a lot more thin skin and thin layers of skin. So that's another key point. The thickness of the layer of skin is going to prove to be the determining factor how much pain you get. And like lower extremities where there's a massive amount of blood flow and thinner skin, you're going to get a lot of painful difficulty pulling hair from there. Like your head doesn't have as much blood in it as your lower body area, so epilating up here, technically speaking, isn't supposed to hurt as much. So it still hurts a lot, but it shouldn't hurt as much, and it didn't really. It was just so annoying. It's annoying to have to feel that constant tug and tug, tug, tug as it continues to pluck, pluck, pluck. It's so annoying. And I'm very happy with the result. I bought a waxing kit. I'm going to actually finish these off with wax because I could go and epilate these out, but it will hurt. And I just went through a lot of pain already doing this part here. So I'm not in the mood to go and try to take the pain and get rid of all these hairs here, which I could do. I could just take the time. I could probably do some ice on it, put some ice on. This is a small area. These areas are rather small. And basically they say put some ice on it, get it to be pain free, and numb it down a bit, and then you just pluck away and you're good. So I might do that. I don't know if this thing's recording things the way I want it to record, but then I have the brightness set really low, so it's probably just that situation. I don't know if there's more to say. I have been trying to get epilation going for a while, years now. I got on it, I started doing it, I tried wax as well. I did all the research on waxing your face. Actually, nobody waxed their face much back then. You waxed your face, of course, if you were a female and you had a little something growing, you waxed it off, or whatever. No males were waxing their beards off. Waxing the beard is becoming a thing now. It's something that's starting to develop now. It hasn't been a thing for a long time. People have just gone with the flow of getting a shaving device and just shaving every day and going with that. But the benefits of waxing are through the roof. You wax it all out, tweeze it all out, and then it's gone for the next how many weeks? Not talking a couple of days and then you're back to square one. Weeks. You're not going to be thinking about it for weeks. On top of that, they have inhibitor creams that you can start to use as an aftershave or after epilation. You put that in, and again, the hairs are going to come back weaker. And this constant process of the hair coming back thinner and weaker means that when you do the epilation next time or the wax next time, it'll be pain-free, pretty much. So, as I understand it, the first time you pluck the hairs out is the most painful. And after that, since you did the deed, and they're going to come back thinner and thinner and thinner each time. They're going to come in thin. And like a little, weaker thing, and you can just pluck it out real easy. So I'm looking forward to getting the wax kit and just basically waxing the hair out of my face every couple of weeks instead of constantly having to worry about shaving. I'm so sick of that, and I just hope to just really end it all, end the bullshit. So I recommend it. I think it's been a boon. I think it's gonna be a great idea. It kills the shaving industry, but that's okay to me. I think they are capitalizing on people suffering, men suffering with their beard that just is such an unmanageable thing, and it catches food and germs, and it's useless. You don't need it. So having the ability to clean it all off and have the ability to actually wash your face and soap it up and get it clean and exfoliated a lot better, that's the way to do it. Like all down here is very bumpy and dark usually when I shave. All this scarring is because whenever I shave down here and I go to sleep or something, this area folds down, creates a moisture pocket for bacteria to grow in, and of course you get infected hair follicles. Everything gets infected, and it's just a big infected mess. One day had so much infected hairs because of the natural shaving thing that I use. So for black people, this is a good thing. Black shaving is a totally different world of shaving than white shaving and Asian shaving, everybody else shaving. Black hair doesn't play. It's always going to be a very difficult thing to just shave every day. So I always wondering why you see black guys in movies looking slick. like they just, it's all a lie. Those guys got their hair waxed off. It wasn't that they just got it like that genetically where they can shave and there's not going to be no repercussions. They just got it waxed. They went to a waxing salon. They got their hair waxed off. Maybe they injected painkillers. Maybe they took the pain of it. I don't know. But that's the way to do it, and that's the way you want to do it. That's the way to approach that stuff. Just wax it the hell off. I'm glad I did what I did. I'll probably make another video in the future about other things, other topics I'm going to discuss. But for now, I have been doing some repair work on the computer as usual. Thing never works, and I don't know. I let the computer run, do its thing, and then I must have left it on playing all night by accident. I wake up in the morning, and the computer went into sleep mode because it's on a timer. Typically, it just goes into sleep mode. I wake up in the morning and I see the computer's running full speed ahead. Everything's on, and yet there's no display. And I'm just wondering, what the hell is this? It should be in sleep mode right now. So I do a restart, and then of course it tells me, oh, do you want to reboot from drive D? Because drive D is my SSD. And I'm always having trouble with that. I'm always having trouble telling it what the main boot drive is. So I go back and I say, okay, whatever, this thing's happening again. Okay. I'll reboot it, and this time it goes into I'm screwed up mode, where it kind of boots up and it goes back down and shuts down. So what that tells me is that one of the RAM sticks is bad or something. So I start playing around with the RAM, figuring out why it can't go into the BIOS, can't do anything. I start messing around with it, figuring out which RAM stick is bad. I do all kinds of different combinations, do one RAM at a time. None of that works, none of it. So I ultimately conclude all my RAM are dead, and without RAM I have no computer. So that's the sucky thing about computers. You lose one thing, don't go for lunch. So I take out a GPU too. See, okay, maybe it's a GPU that's faulty. I did buy this GPU offhand from some dude, so maybe it's faulty. Not that. The GPU is fine. So I decided upon it. RAM gets old. I do my research. RAM gets old. It does indeed have a lifespan, and it will potentially die one day, especially under high stress or overclocking. I did overclock these RAM. I put it in the BIOS. I changed the BIOS settings to overclock the RAM a little bit, give them a higher voltage, all that shit. I don't understand anything about those settings, so I assume. And I did take out the RAM, and it has a little burn mark on one of the edges. So I'm thinking, okay, that's probably a reaction to that situation where I pushed the button on the PSU and I turned it on one day and the PSU exploded, sending a giant shock through the system. So probably that's from that. So from there, I assume, okay, I need new RAM, and I go online and I find a way to buy some cheap $30 new RAM sticks, same make as mine. I don't want to change that up. Those RAM were pretty good, and so I put the new RAM in. I put a fresh, brand new RAM in, and the computer boots up beautifully. I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied. I'm done. I don't care anymore. I'm great. I'm back to where I need to be. My computer works. Now I'm thinking, okay, is it that these RAM were bad? So I assume these RAM were just bad RAM. I assume that, and I'm done with it. I don't want to test things out. I don't want to mess up what's already really good. I want to put the RAM in there, and it messes up the slot by exploding or something. So basically, I say, okay, screw it. I'll test these RAM sticks out one more time. Mind you, I've tested them a lot. I've been testing them so much. But I say, okay, give it one more shot. I'll test the RAM. So this is with the GPU in now. I put it in with the GPU installed and everything. And it has something to do with it. I put the bad RAM in, and suddenly it boots. Now I don't typically put these RAM into the black slots, although I did test it with that in mind. So For some reason, under the blue sun, it starts to work, and the RAM is good. It gets read by the operating system. It comes up. It's testing it. It's seeing it. The computer posts. Now, the only thing I can assume is a couple of things. I did, in the time that I've had no RAM and no computer, I went through and I brushed out the insides. This computer's been sitting around for how many long days without any kind of activity or nothing. And typically, since I don't use those RAM slots, they're just open and getting tons of dust in them. So at this point, I take a brush and I go in there and I brush it completely clean, try to clean it out, see if that'll fix it. And apparently, I'm going to take a wild guess, there's a massive amount of dust contamination inside the RAM slot that was preventing the computer from seeing the RAM. And that was it. That was the problem. Alternatively, too, I just put the RAM in slanted and it didn't work. And that's a problem. Another point to make is that there are places where the RAM probably should go first before you put them in a farther part. These RAM slots have designations of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the 1 and 3 slot work together as brothers and sisters, and the other 2 slots work together. So you got to put them in a coordinated way. That's another aspect of things. So now I put them all in at the same time. No 3 sticks, no just 1, no just 2. I put them all in at the same time. Computer boots, sees all 4 RAM sticks, and everything's working swimmingly and fine and clean. There's no problems. So now I have a 16 gigabyte RAM computer, and apparently that's good for video editing, at least, if not for much else. Most things don't need 16 gigs of RAM. But I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't have a problem with that. If it helps with gaming and running emulators, you have more RAM available, fine. I have a pretty beefy GPU. I have a lot of RAM. And, you know, GTA is no slouch. That game uses a hell of a lot of RAM, so now it's going to have all the RAM it could possibly need. So that's one good thing about it. So I think, you know, give this thing time to mature. And I'm gonna test my system right now and see if it boots up. So, okay, we're gonna do a little test of it. Because sometimes this thing likes to play games, and you try to boot it, and it works and it's great, and then it says ha ha ha, fooled you, and you turn the system off and you boot it. So we're booting it right now. You turn the system off, you leave it alone to just do its thing, and you say, I'm good. So this is a decent sign. It's starting to actually show out through the display. It shouldn't have any problems. I've been restarting and rebooting it all day, so oh shit. What this means is that it's telling me that my memory has been changed. Apparently it hasn't saved the last time I did this. So I'm just gonna tell it to go forward. That shouldn't always be something that I see when I boot the computer. I don't know if that's gonna always be there, or it's because I don't know why that always shows up. So I'll have to. It shouldn't. I think maybe I changed the setting. This is the first time that I've shut down the computer and actually turned it back on fully and not restarted it. So maybe it's a CMOS thing. The CMOS settings are telling me something hardware-wise has changed that it's not aware of. That I don't understand. It's going into the OS. Not just to warn you, my opening screen for my OS is pretty hot stuff, and I'm always excited to see it. That's why I put it there. All right. I changed the paging size file size too, so that's hopefully gonna help it start a little faster than this. And this is the fast boot option I put on. This is how it's working with fast boot enabled. And there she is. That's my woman right there. And another woman I like. So I think we have a successfully running computer. Hopefully that that message goes away and we don't see it ever again. Because why is it like that? Why does it keep telling me, oh, you have uh, hardware change to your RAM? That's what it's saying. It's saying something has changed in the hardware. Do you want to go into setup or do you want to start normally? That's what it's asking. Other than that, it's running smoothly as can be, and it takes a crap long time to boot up, more than it has in the past. So that's kind of weird. But other than that, it's working fine. Uh, what am I doing recently? Just in case you wanted to know, I got another TV here. On this one, I'm playing my Dreamcast. Sometimes I watch a movie and play Dreamcast at the same time. I know I'm doing things like that. And I'm playing Sonic Adventure. I'm trying to get into that. It's actually a pretty decent game. I just want to say I did it. I tried to play it years ago on bootleg for Dreamcast, but no way in hell. Every single time I want to play that game, I'm going to put in the boot disc and then swap disc just to play a little bit of a level, and then no, I'm not going to roll like that. So now I'm playing it off of the Dream Shell thing at the back, although Sonic Adventure is one of the most emulated games on the Dreamcast. As far as I know, any emulator can play that game easy. So I don't really need to play it on the Dreamcast. Since my computer is always such a joke, that's the way I'm going to do things. And I have Rycast working with it. But Rycast has no save option. So that's the problem with that. I'd play Sonic Adventure on Rycast, and then you go and you go through the level and it says now saving, and then it doesn't save anything. So I have to start from scratch with that. We're gonna do some stuff. I'm gonna flash the firmware, new firmware onto my H96 TV box dongle. I'm gonna try that. If it breaks it and bricks it, then that's fine. I'll do a recovery on it, try to flash the official firmware, and we'll go from there. But I've done very little Android debug things in the past, and I do know my way around that stuff. So I think I'll be successful at that. I can't do it now. That's a simple reason why I'm not doing it now, is because I don't have the USB cord yet. I ordered it through eBay. I don't know why it's taking so long to get here, but it's on its way. And the USB cord is what you need to get that whole thing flashed onto the ROM of that thing. And supposedly there's a lot of bloatware and nonsense inside of that stick that's slowing it down. The guy who made the ROM says he got rid of all that. It's going to run faster. He tweaked it, optimized it. You can actually put a wallpaper on it. So now it'll function as if it was a mini PC. And I'm hoping that it kind of runs the emulators a little better. I don't know. I can run PS2 emulation on it, but it's like you're playing it like this. It works great for the PSP, pretty darn fast. Certain settings break the emulators on it, like if you turn on Force MX XX4A, whatever the hell that is, in the developer options, it will kind of break the emulators, make them not work. So try not to play around with the GPU rendering and stuff, I think. But I'm gonna try. I think I wanted to go after and get the Shenmue downloads, but I'm beat. You know, after playing Shenmue for Dreamcast and going through that stuff, all that crap, it is a rigorous game that demands. It's like playing Final Fantasy or something like that. You got to get deep with Shenmue, and I'm not feeling that right now. I'm not feeling like getting in there like that. It's a game that was designed for that kind of lifestyle where you got the time of day to get into a deep game, and I ain't feeling like that. So I'm down with the hype for Shenmue right now. We all loving what's going on, but I don't have the money to afford it, first of all. When it gets cheaper, I think I'll buy it. And I'm going to mod the hell out of it, because they're going to they're doing some deep stuff over at ShenmueDojo.com, whatever the hell forums. From what I'm reading, they are working on remodeling things to higher resolution textures, which is possible. So essentially, what's going to be done by modders is, I'm pretty sure at some point, if these guys really love what they're doing and they're dedicated, they're going to completely remodel Shenmue for higher resolution textures and hack the hell out of the game. Now, could we see Shenmue online at some point? Because that's what modders are capable of doing with these kinds of games like Just Cause and GTA San Andreas. They just create a big ass online version. I'd love to see online fighting and all that stuff, but that's a tall order. I mean, Shenmue is a game that's very difficult to deal with in its current status. It is not a game that's just simple coding. It's very complex, weird coding. So the online thing's probably going to be a ways off until the hackers and all that completely understand the architecture of what they've done. But they got the widescreen mod out already. So if you want to play the game full widescreen off of Steam or something, they got that done. They got a widescreen hack for it. It's better to play it widescreen all around. The only thing is that, and the reason they did it 4:3 is because certain cutscenes have glitches that are hard coded into the game, so they can't just change that. That's where I'll leave it. I'm at my wit's end right now. This computer's kind of blown me away with its awfulness. I bought it years back. I've been struggling with it ever since to get it to run efficiently. It used to be an AMD computer, turned it into a Pentium. I have so much crap on it because of my movie that I'm making. Once the movie is completed and we don't have to worry about it anymore, I will basically erase a lot of the caked up amount of copied files everywhere and feel a lot freer to just let the movie. I'm gonna put it all in a big ass backup drive if I can find one, and essentially that'll be the massive archive of the footage that I shot, and that's it. I'll keep that where that is, and I'll keep the movie safe and locked away, and that's it. Not more I can say.